Hey there, humans of healthcare. I've got a big smile on my face because I just rewatched the video that we recorded of Dr. Charles Anderson. He's an OBGYN at Rolling Plains Memorial Hospital in Sweetwater, Texas. He recently moved from Abilene, which he was working at the local hospital system there called Hendrick Health, and he had about 4,000-ish patients that he was serving in that community. But he decided to move his practice to Sweetwater, Texas, to work for our beloved Doug Dipple. And this interview, to me, was just one that makes you smile. And I want to do it justice with the intro because Dr. Anderson coming to Sweetwater is a very, very big deal. It's supported by everybody. Everybody's on board. They've accepted the change. And the patients are following him. In many cases, the patients are following him to Sweetwater. And I see why. He is charismatic. This guy could do anything he wanted to do. I imagine he could be president, senator, whatever he wanted to be, but he chose to be an OBGYN. And you'll see why. He loves it. His passion is genuine. He loves what he does. He loves his patients. He loves the babies. And as he puts it, why would you want to do anything else in medicine? Bringing life into the world is one of the most obvious privileges to medicine. So he talks a lot about nursing and how important communication is. He talks about his passion for what he does. He talks about the hospital where he works and how they have whatever they need to make sure that their patients are going to be taken care of and that the outcomes are going to equate to a happy mama and a very beautiful and healthy baby. So when you watch this, you'll hear some other good stories, some other insights. I don't want to give them all away about Dr. Anderson, but one of the takeaways that I wanted to leave you with was how it felt to be in his presence. There's just something charismatic about certain people. And when he described what he does or what he used to do growing up, being on a farm, working the land, how he would spend a lot of time by himself, but doing things that he loved outdoors. It made sense. It all came together. This charisma was spawned from within. And that internal confidence, that love and passion for what he does, but the talent that this man possesses is unbelievable. And it's off the charts as far as scale goes to other doctors that we'll talk with. So really fortunate to be able to get this interview. I was a little bit nervous. I hope that didn't come across. But, Dr. Charles Anderson, you're certainly a pillar in that community. You're somebody that's going to give hope to a whole bunch of people. And, as humble as you are, I appreciate that it's not easy for you to hear that. Humans of healthcare, if you don't mind, I'll just kind of tell you some background. I'm out here to help healthcare executives, frankly. That's what the motivation was. I started about a year ago, and I did it because I need to pay forward all that they've done for me. I was successful because they gave me time. And it was specifically rural hospitals. Rural hospital CEOs when I was like 23 or 24, they let me in the door. They showed me their world. They were kind to me. And I was nobody. And I still, I'm still very humbled by that. But everything I do now is really for them. And so this is where this whole idea started. And I've always felt from a leadership perspective, it's hard for some people to tell stories to the boss, and it's hard sometimes for them to get the whole story, and understand what's going on in totality so they can make really good decisions. And then that just led into storytelling in general. So this whole thing, Humans of Healthcare, is just kind of storytelling for people who work in healthcare or who are associated with healthcare. Okay. And it's for patients if they want to tell stories. But at the end of the day, I'm hoping that healthcare executives can see the stories and learn from them and do some good. You're here now at Rolling Plains Memorial Hospital in Sweetwater, Texas. And I'm curious about your journey. Where did it start for you? Where were you born? What were your parents like? What was life like for you?
Okay. Let me tell you my life story.
Yeah, exactly.
Synopsis. Born in small town, Snyder, Texas, son of a principal. But I spent my summers, I'm very proud to spend my summers out on the ranch outside in Fisher County and hoeing cotton, running cattle. And you know what? I loved it. I really enjoyed that part of my childhood, spending the summers with my grandparents, spending the summers on the farm. There's a lot of freedom about being outdoors, and I really enjoyed that growing up. At some point, I really enjoyed science, so I still remember my science teacher in high school focusing me on biology. And so I went to Abilene Christian University in Abilene. And that's kind of how I ended up back in this area. I was going to ACU and I majored in biology. Wonderful professors over there, and they really encouraged me. My goal was to get into medical school. They were very good at the pre-med program. And so I ended up going to medical school in Houston at Baylor College of Medicine. Baylor College of Medicine is not in Waco. Baylor College of Medicine is in Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
And after my stay in Houston, I went to Dallas and did an OB-GYN residency. Delivering babies has got to be the most exciting part of medicine. I mean, there is no doubt. When I was doing my rotations, in most parts of medicine, sadly, you have older people that are sick, that are ill. Many of them, sadly, are dying. But in OB, we could bring new life in the world. And once I recognized that in med school, I thought, what in the world? This isn't even a question for me. I know where I'm going to specialize in and what I'm going to do. So I went to Dallas and trained in OB-GYN. I trained both at Parkland and at Baylor. And I worked various other hospitals there in Dallas before I came to practice in Abilene. And I practiced in Abilene for a few decades, both hospitals there in Abilene. But more recently, decided to move out to Sweetwater, Rolling Plains. And I've really enjoyed my stay. I've been here a few months, delivered a few dozen babies here, and things are going great. Oddly enough, we have several nurses that I've known in Abilene. The same nurses I've known in Abilene are working here at this hospital. And it's been very enjoyable for me to meet up with the same nurses I've worked with for years in Abilene. We do have excellent nursing staff and very caring nurses in our labor and delivery. Of course, that's a very special part of the hospital, again, because we're bringing new life in the world, babies, and for moms, it may be the highlight of their life, certainly. So I'm very happy to be a part of that, and our staff is very happy to be a part of that.
Oh, yeah. There's some exciting things going on out here. What do you think it is about this community that makes it that energy, that excitement? What is it about this area?
I think with a smaller hospital, you definitely get more personalized care. You don't want to be just one rotating through a big hospital, be nothing, because if you're ill, in my case, you're going to have a baby, you really want somebody that cares about you. And I definitely see that at this hospital. Of course, that's present at other hospitals, but you can get lost in the shuffle in big hospitals, just like the big city atmosphere. I think you get more personalized service, and that's what we can offer.
Yeah. And that's rewarding for you as well, right? To know the patients.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have taken care of my patients for years. I'm at a point where some of the patients I delivered them, 25 years ago.
Wow.
I hate to admit I'm that old, so don't tell anybody.
No.
But I'm delivering patients that I delivered 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's really, really a joy for me.
But what are some of the things and the advancements that you've seen over the past 5 to 10 years that you're excited about? And then, what do you see kind of in the future coming that is interesting to you?
I think the advancements that we've seen have been in general medicine as far as treatment of high blood pressure, treatment of complications, treatment of diabetes. Those are the advancements. Fetal monitoring has become more common in the last decade or so. And by monitoring the baby, that's not brand new, but it is something that's really occurred during my practice. And we can monitor the baby during labor, make sure that the baby's doing well while mom is laboring. And therefore, if there is a problem, we can step in and take care of it.
Sure.
So not giant breakthroughs, but by monitoring the mom closely and the baby closely, we do have better outcomes.
So when you think about the conversation like AI and all this new age stuff that's heading our way, how do you think it's going to impact you in your world?
I don't know where AI is going.
Yeah.
I have a bad feeling, so I'm going to share this with you.
Yeah.
I have a bad feeling the computers are going to be telling us what to do.
Right.
I don't really look forward to that.
Yeah.
I like to make my own decisions. Being old school, I really like to make my own decisions. I don't like being told what to do by a computer or whatever.
Right.
I think that's where that's going to go.
Yeah.
There's going to be some benefits of that, and there's going to be some drawbacks on that. So I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah.
Because if we use AI to make decisions, I think really some of those decisions are going to be wrong.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to figure that out.
Yeah. It will be challenging, I think. How do you like to be led? What's leadership look like to you when it's working well?
Make sure that we have the best staff, I believe.
Okay.
The best instruments, the best equipment. It doesn't always have to be the most expensive. Mm-hmm. Medical equipment's extremely expensive, as you can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent staff, excellent equipment really helps. Speaking of equipment, in hospitals, some of the expenses are getting difficult for hospitals to manage, no matter what size you are. One of these areas, which does affect OB-GYN, is robotics. Robotic surgery is becoming more common in the GYN field,
Okay.
not in OB, but in the GYN field. And we can be talking about some very expensive equipment there.
Sure.
That smaller hospitals can't afford, larger hospitals do afford, but it's very expensive for the patient. So that's where some of that is going.
Sure.
There's going to be some benefits there, but people really are concerned about the cost of medical care. And we're talking about expensive equipment like robots. We're talking about very expensive medical.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's a doctor shortage. How are we going to get more of you, and not only just doctors, but also specifically specialties like yours, to be attracted to what you're doing?
Yeah. It's going to be very difficult. Might not be possible in the next generation. To train gens, we don't need more medical students. We need more residency training spots. Those training spots can only expand so quickly, and there's not enough spots for OB-GYNs in the state of Texas or nationwide. There's a shortage in many specialties. Now, these are specialties. I'm talking about OB-GYN specifically, urology, there's a few others. There's going to be shortage nationwide. There's not enough training programs to train. No matter how many medical students we put out, they've got to do that residency to get certified in that specialty. So we're going to have some shortage of specialists. One thing that we're doing is having what we'll call mid-levels, our physician's assistant, our nurse practitioners, assisting the physicians in seeing patients, and that will allow the doctors to see more. So that's going to be the way of the future. Yeah. And I think as citizens, as U.S. citizens, we expect more health care. I think we're probably receiving more health care than ever, certainly more than our grandparents or their grandparents. So as we expand health care, I'm not sure there's ever going to be enough practitioners, whether it's PAs or physicians for that matter.
Your experience, are we seeing fewer babies born than we used to?
A lot fewer, yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, what's happening worldwide is, let's call it birth control, contraception.
Right.
Countries all over the world are seeing less than replacement number of babies. Right now, America, and you might know this, if the statistics are clear, America is growing because of immigration, not because of babies.
Yeah.
I may not see this locally because we have such a shortage of OB-GYNs. I'm always seeing people coming in. But yeah, statewide, nationwide, we're seeing fewer babies, not enough to replace our older generation.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the way it's going to continue.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. We also have this new popular topic in the news. It's about Ozempic babies, and it's interesting. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we don't want any Ozempic babies. They're going to be starved.
Yeah.
Ozempic is popular. My feeling is it's probably safe. Certainly millions and millions of Americans are taking Ozempic and the derivatives right now. They're losing weight, which is fine. We just obviously don't want them to lose weight when they're pregnant.
Yeah.
Not recommended if you're planning to get pregnant anytime soon. So for my patients, don't lose weight when you're trying to get pregnant. You'll starve your baby during those first few months while the baby's supposed to be growing.
Interesting.
But I think Ozempic's, it's got its place, and it's probably safe, expensive, as we all know.
Right.
But there's going to be lots of derivatives of Ozempic that's going to be on the market, and I think that's the way America's going to go, and it's probably safe for most people.
Do you have anything that sticks out to you, like great stories or?
I've got a story.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's mostly true. I say my students.
Yeah.
I don't know, probably a dozen years ago or so, I was on call on New Year's Eve. We had a patient with twins come in. The twins were going to get a C-section. That was planned near her due date, healthy twins, beautiful. And they started getting the patient ready right before midnight. So me and another doctor got together and we thought, wouldn't this be exciting to deliver right around midnight? And we talked to the parents and we said, what would be more exciting would be deliver one baby 1 minute before midnight and the second baby 1 minute after midnight, which would be the next year.
Yes.
Not on the next day, but the next year. So we got all that ready. The nurses were all ready. I mean, it had to be timed to the minute. I mean, you can't just sit there and halt a C-section during the middle. So anyway, we delivered the two babies. One minute before midnight, one minute after midnight. They're the twins, different days, different years. And everybody thought that was really exciting. And they put a little note in the local newspaper there in Abilene, and it was kind of fun. I don't know. That was a fun delivery.
Yeah, that's cool.
The mom was excited, and the families were excited. It was just kind of a neat thing to do.
Yeah, thank you for that. My daughter's a labor and delivery nurse, and she's 23. She's just getting started. Any advice for her?
Communicate with the doctor.
Okay.
In labor and delivery, we communicate more with nurses than we do probably any other area of the hospital. We're in constant contact throughout labor, throughout their hospital stay. I love to talk to the nurses They take care of me. They take care of the patient. They take care of me. Let me know, hour by hour what's going on with the patient. Communicate with the doctor back and forth. I certainly take advice from my nurses. They'll say, this patient needs, whatever, a sleeping pill, whatever it is. She needs real food. She needs to eat.
Yeah.
Whatever she needs. The nurse tells me. I really appreciate that communication.
Okay.
And if they will do that, I think some of the nurses, especially starting out, may be a little hesitant to call the doctor. Oh, maybe he doesn't want to talk to me. Well, I want to talk to him because I want to know what's going on with the patient. Even if it's not a medical emergency, it might be something, little like the patient wants to get out of bed and go for a walk. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be major.
Yeah.
Communication is so important. And like I said, in our area, I think there's more communication in the labor and delivery area between the doctor and the nurses than maybe any other area.
Interesting. You seem very passionate about what you do. When you get called at 2 o'clock in the morning, is it a burden or is it something you love still?
I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's 2. I did deliver one at 1:30 this morning.
Oh, wow.
So you're talking to a person that was up this morning at 1:30 delivering a baby.
Nice.
And I do. I love every minute of it. I don't think I would do it if I didn't really enjoy it. So for me, it's really, really the truth. I still enjoy getting them to deliver the babies. We certainly like to deliver more of them during the daytime.
Yeah.
But even at night, it's just, and I've always been able to go back to sleep. Some doctors have trouble getting back to sleep. I've always been able to fall back to sleep, get a few hours of sleep, even with a middle of the night delivery.
Yeah.
And yes, I enjoy it. My goal is always to have a perfect baby and a perfect mom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been my goal my whole practice. I don't want any, problems happen during labor and delivery. Mistakes happen to all doctors. My goal is to get that down as close to zero as we can get.
Sure.
That's been my goal my entire career. And I hope I'm getting better and better at it because I look back at things my first year or two of practice and sometimes just shudder like, what did I do that first year? What was I thinking? But after decades of practice, I hope I'm getting better and better. My goal is, again, to have a perfect baby and a healthy mom just almost every time.
Is there anything that you'd want people to know, your patients to know about you?
Personal, I have 5 children. Mm-hmm. I love children. I love families. My oldest child is an OB/GYN doctor in Dallas. She does mostly robotics. We were talking about robotics earlier. That's what she does. That's what she's focused on, is doing robot surgery. I've practiced for many years, and I'm still family-oriented, but love practicing OB/GYN and plan to continue to do it. Several people ask me, well, how long are you going to work? Well, forever.
Yeah.
At that.
Yeah.
Since I enjoy what I'm doing, I have no plans to really ever stop working. I'll work as long as I can.
As long as you can, right?
I think the thing that speaks the highest of you is that if you have a mama that's in labor, you're going to make that delivery.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, once my kids, all these 5 kids, once they finally graduated from high school, I didn't have to stay at home at night. I come in for deliveries. I've been coming in for my deliveries for a long, long time. Great. Also, even when the children were at home, I discovered that if I go in at midnight or 1 o'clock and deliver a baby and come back home, the kids never know I left,
That's a good one.
Daddy was here when we went to bed. Daddy's here when we wake up.
That's great.
So I was able to spend time with the kids and go to all their athletic activities and all that and just go back and forth from the hospital throughout their upbringing.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, for all us West Texas folks, your youngest is at Tech, right?
My youngest is at Tech. That's correct.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah. None of the other kids went to healthcare except the oldest.
Okay.
They're all in other areas.
Yeah.
But yeah, my youngest is at Texas Tech, majoring in accounting.
Yeah.
And loves it. So
yeah.
I just figured I'd give all this West Texas folks a shout.
There you go.
Yeah.
She was the last one out the door.
Yeah. So you're from Snyder.
I am personal.
Yeah, so you're back to where you were
close. That's right.
Yeah, that's great.
That's right.
When you think about Rolling Plain and the hospital's next steps, what do you see for them as a hospital?
We probably need more specialists as such. We don't expect to cover every specialty. We're not going to have neurosurgeons here. We don't need a neurosurgeon here.
Right.
But we've got most of the specialists covered. It's nice to have a pediatrician, internal medicine, a few to help with the complicated cases. We know with complicated cases, we're going to transfer those out.
Yeah.
We can't take, like I said, we're not going to do brain surgery or heart surgery at this hospital, and we don't ever want to, in my mind.
Right.
But we want to cover basic medicine and the complications that can occur from just someone coming in with, the flu, pneumonia, whatever.
Sure.
Hospital is in very nice shape, if you will. We've got a lot of new equipment. It's large enough to take care of the patients that we admit.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, as far as physicians, we just, I just see maybe some specialists of
Yeah.
some sort coming
Yeah.
in. And we have some coming over and visiting us from Abilene, some of our cardiologists, and I understand that. And it'd be nice to have gastroenterologists or maybe
Sure,
come over and
sure.
visit. But again, that's the future. Right
Yeah.
now, I think we've got all the general medicine covered. It's nice to have some surgeons around for sure. I think that was one of my first questions when I came to town.
Yeah, right.
We have 2 excellent surgeons here. So
Wonderful. Well, really appreciate you doing this. It's great to have you here. It's exciting. I mean, I'm talking to people in the country, about the story here in Sweetwater, Texas, and it's a good story. And there's hope in it, And I hate to be corny, but that's the world I live in, where people are shutting their doors, and it's scary. And this is just such a different story. And you're a big part of that. So,
thank you so much.